my name is Farid Sabitov, and I would like to speak about design operations in design discipline. So who am I? My name is Farid Sabitov. I have around 10 years of experience working in tech as a designer. And today I'm really passionate to share you some of the latest latest trends and latest practices that are like becoming more and more popular, and especially on design ops. Just a quick disclaimer here, I'm not representing design ops practice in EPAM, and it's all based on my personal experience and not connected to EPAM. So I would like to share for today, our plan is, so I would like to start with some design challenges and understand and explain why do we need design operations. After that, we will start with explanation of what is a design ops, how to start, that will be my personal story, some examples, how design ops is working, and how we could help our clients, help our design team itself to improve their efficiency and the quality. After that, we'll speak about ROI, return on investment, and how to measure design operations. We will speak about design maturity, some of my personal advices, and resources to learn. So I'm really thrilled to start this conversation with you. So if you will have any questions, please write, and I will be happy to answer them as well. Okay, let's start with design challenges. So we all know, let's see and try to understand what are the main challenges are happening when the design team evolves, right? It starts with one designer, and then when we are growing, the design team grows, we are adding more and more designers to cover all their needs, right? And at this point, we are facing some of the challenges that, like one of the challenges, like with the hiring, how we can make sure that the people that we are hiring are the one that we need for the specific project needs. How we can make sure that the quality of our craft, of our design deliverables is on the right level. When we see that we need more designers and it's becoming more and more popular, and that's why design ops is more in demand right now, because right now design teams are growing fast, right? Everyone understand and we're understood already that design is important in nowadays, and everyone tries to hire more designers, improve their maturity level of the design discipline in their company as well. So, but again, when we are trying to grow and we are focusing only on product without focusing on operations, there are some challenges like team health, how to make sure and that some design members, for example, some designers are facing some issues, how to understand and recognize these issues in advance. If, again, because of the technology challenges that we have right now, we have a lot of design tools, Figma, Sketch, Abstract, Miro, and other things. There are so many tools, and when we have a large design team, it's hard to understand which tools are working better, which tools have integrations with each other, what are the main process of how to work with each other as well. So again, by thinking about the design operations, we are able to think about these challenges and emphasize on them and prepare some of the solutions. Another design challenges that people are facing with is the knowledge sharing. How to make sure that design leads or design managers inside our design discipline are sharing their knowledge between each other. How to make sure that the findings, research findings, are visible and easy to search for everyone. Again, design systems is another big topic. How to make sure that all the different streams, how to make sure that different products are reusing the design system that we are developing, and we are spending the resources on that. So again, by thinking about these challenges, we can see that there is not only the product is our focus area, but also the operations of how people are working with each other. Another problems that how to make sure that designers are engaged, how to make sure that their performance is in the right way. Again, another big topic is design culture, how to specify the right objectives for design discipline success. The next focus area is the design growth, how to see that, for example, some of the designers are they growing or not? Do we have any additional trainings that will help our designers to learn and see new practices like design operations, design management, design system management, etc.? How to make sure that the assessment that we have is the right one, and everyone knows and have the right responsibilities, knows the role definitions clearly through the whole organization. Another big topic is the market recognition. So if we are speaking about hiring more and more people to our company, into our design company, how to make sure that designers are knowing about us, how they are seeing how we are helping the community, what are the reviews on some of the job platforms as well. So after seeing and understanding the evolution of the design, and right now it's not small company, I mean, it's not a small team. Everyone tries to hire more and more designers right now because there is a high demand. And while we are focusing on the product, how to make sure that we don't forget about the people, how to make sure that all the challenges that they are on the market with the new practices, how to make sure that people are learning, and etc. So after thinking about these challenges, my thought was how we can improve the way of how we are working as a design discipline. And for a couple of years ago, I saw that design operations is becoming more and more popular, and I started to learn and try to understand why and what it is. So today, I would like to show you my personal story of how I when I saw all these challenges, and these challenges is not only about the product, but they're also about the people, tools, and practices that we're using, how to solve that. And the answer is the Design Ops. Design Ops is a discipline that is specifically focuses on the operations. So my learning path is when I started to understand and analyze what is a Design Ops, I started to go through all the job offers. That's an interesting way of searching and understanding the responsibilities of a specific role. Within that way, you are able to understand what are the focus areas, what are the responsibilities, and etc. So my plan was I did desk research, analyzed all the job offers that are available on the market, and started to group and do affiliate diagramming with all these findings that I found, and created a diagram for myself where I will understand what are the focus areas of the design operations. Also, I started to search for the conferences, for the influencers, and one of the biggest influencers right now in the market regarding the design ops is Dave Malone. You can find him on the Medium. He's very active on Twitter as well. There are also a lot of different articles on Medium where design operation managers or design operations leads are trying to explain what is a design operations. This is something new. It's not like there's no clear practices right now in the market. Every company tries to come up with their own approach, with their own ideas. But the one that I would like to really recommend you is the Design Ops Handbook. There's a link on the slide share where Peter shared with us his presentation and his understanding of the design ops. Again, this practice is very new and it's evolving every quarter, every year. So that's why I tried to understand what are like market understanding of a design ops. And to understand it even more, I started to like every person, every company were explaining about the design ops in their own way. So I started to organize and gather all these definitions and came up with my own. So as a result of this research activity, my personal definition of design ops is design ops is focused on operations inside and outside the design teams that can help to increase speed, efficiency, and quality of design deliverables in order to amplify design's value and impact at scale. At the beginning, I was trying to show you what are the challenges when the design team evolves, right? From the start to like big company, big team. And that's why within this challenges, market adaptiveness challenge, and technological, there are a lot of different tools, how to make sure that we are up to date with all the latest best practices that are available. And my own explanation of all these things is we have three main areas. It's people, practices, and tools. People is the ones who are doing the design activities, right? The practices are explaining how they are doing these things, and the tools are helping them to achieve the results much faster and to deliver more quality design deliverables. And the main focus is on the craft, is what we are doing. So we have also the, three circles here, that is operational, tactical, and strategic. And on each of these circles, I added some of the focus areas that I found. So we can see that from the people perspective, it's important to focus on the market recognition, on the design culture, on the recognition people inside the team, on team coordination, and etc. When we are speaking about the tools, it's important to think about the design systems, because this is another big topic. And design systems is not the only thing that design operations is focused on. So after that, I would like to share you some of the examples of how to start implementing these design operation activities. And design ops is not like a role, it's more like a mindset. And you need to always think how to make sure that the work that you are doing, it's efficient. How by using some of the tools, some of the practices, how you can increase the speed of your doing these deliverables. So I started, like, my next steps, I started to document everything that I'm doing to understand what is the process of, like, the right design thinking, of lean UX approach, and etc. I started to find some weak spots where I'm able to improve it by adding some new practices or by adding some extensions or some tools that are available on the market. Applying design thinking for operations is another interesting way of how to improve that. Design operations is not only about the practices, right? Every company have their own realities, have their own challenges and constraints. So that's why not all the practices that you will find on the internet, for example, will work for your company as well. So because of that, it's important to test before implementing some of your practices. I will, in a couple of seconds, I will show you some of the examples that I did before. So that will give you more understanding of what kind of things I'm talking about. When you are doing this and understanding what are the problems and you are trying to resolve it, share them with your team members on the respective calls. So that will give everyone aware that you are doing some of these things and you're thinking about the ways of how to increase the efficiency. Show success stories and value. And within that, you will able to start these design operation activities like within yourself. And after that, I was thinking, design ops is not only about myself, but how I can apply the same activities, the same practices to other people. So they will also start doing some things more efficiently. They will not focus on some of the routine work that will be automated with some plugins and etc. How to onboard others for the new things that we came up with. So yeah, and at that point, I was trying to understand how I can share all the knowledge that I have for everyone. There is one interesting topic at the end, is the change management. So the first thing that I would like to share with you is to understand the level of change, the level of the improvement that you would like to share to the company, to your design team. And as I shared before, it's better to start with some simple things on the operational level and then go to tactical and the strategic focus areas, how you can improve that. Right now, I will show some of the examples how you can do these design ops activities to improve the way of how you can work faster and more efficiently. So one of the first activities is a design linter. So and when I started to implement these practices into the team, I was trying to understand how the design operations consultant will able to work with the team, how to make sure that everyone understands the value, how to make sure that it's easy to onboard and scale this practice, and etc. So I started with the challenge. So the challenge that our team had is that how might we improve the processes around our design system and how to make sure that design deliverables deliverables are consistent. So design linters is the practice that helps us to make sure that our design deliverables are consistent. So when we had this challenge, I started with research and understanding what are the available options there on the market that will help to resolve this problem. So specifically for design linters, for example, for Sketch, we have 3 different options. One of them link for Sketch, Roller 2.0, and Sketch Styler. So again, for each of the challenge that we faced with, and the challenge was how we can make sure that our design deliverables are consistent, as a design operations consultant, we are able to present some of the options that are available there on the market. Again, searching on the GitHub for open source solutions, that will also be a huge plus, because that will give you opportunity to improve and update and change these plugins and extensions based on your needs. Thinking about the pricing is another interesting thing, because when you are having a design team, like designers, more than 100 designers in your company, and you would like to have to implement some of the practices that will help you to resolve this problem with some paid plugin that is not for free, you need to make sure that the ROI will be on the right level, right? Because Sketch Styler, for example, in my example, was not for free. So we started with the Roller 2.0, and then when we have the understanding of what kind of challenge it is, what are the possible solutions, I prepared some detailed journey flows, some journey maps, right? Where I'm wanted to show step by step what designers needs to make, which plugins they need to use, how they need to make sure that the file is updated, to make sure that they are able to introduce and use this practice in their own projects. So it starts with journey mapping. So I created my own adjusted way of how the same things can be applied for the design operations. And for each of the use case, for each of the actions, I prepared a detailed user flow that again helps me to understand, is this solution covers all our needs based on our constraints, company constraints. And also the good thing about this activity is that all these materials can be used after for the onboarding. So if we are saying about I told you that I adjusted a little bit the journey mapping for the design operations, and because it's important to think about the time that we are spending on a specific step, on the specific phase, we have the timing on the top. That's again, it's approximately timing that designers, for example, are spending on each of these phases. Then I'm showing the tools that the designer or other or product manager or front-end developer needs to use to achieve these results. Some actions, these detailed actions with links to the user flows. Actors, this is another big topic. It's important to show the actors on each of these phases, on each of the steps, to show that, for example, some of the problems that we might have. Because if there are a lot of people are involved in a specific phase, it's hard for everyone, and because of the communication gaps, the time for delivery might be increased a lot. So yeah, we have actors, we have pain points during this process when we are trying to come up with the right process activity, right? Gain points, some hypotheses, how we could improve that, and automation opportunities. This is another interesting thing where while we are doing all these testings, we are saving all the feedback and feature requests from the team members. So for example, if we are adding design linter into the Sketch workflow, and when designers are finishing their work, they need to open and run this plugin to make sure that their design deliverables are consistent, this is the solution that might help. After that, we are doing some testing with the focus group, with the test group, to specify, and by specifying the research goals, finding the right participants, and detailed process, we are able to conduct this quick usability testing inside the small test group and take all the main insights from them. And yeah, as a result, right, we had a challenge. We came up with a solutions. We prepared a couple options. We tested all of them and created a journey mapping where we are trying to understand how all the team members are using this plugin, for example, or this practice, which problems do they have. And after that, we are testing on a small group testing on this test group to understand what how much time it will take to adopt this practice into the whole organization. What kind of tool set will be needed additionally, and what their price, and what, from the security perspective, this is another big topic, to understand, is it secure or not? To understand how much money we will need to spend based on this additional tool set, how much time could we reduce? So for example, before that, when a design team tried to see and check all the design, all the wireframes based on their design system guidelines, they were doing that manually. But with Design Linter and with the Roller plugin, we were able to automate that. And instead of 3 days, as like they needed to spend on this reviewing all the materials, right now it's only 30 minutes, and it's almost fully automated. And with as a result, we also need to show some business value. So the first thing, it's easier onboarding for all the newcomers, because they are able to see which kind of styles are used, what kind of colors do we have in our design system, and etc. The knowledge sharing within this Design Linter approach, we were able to improve our communication with the design librarian team, with the design system team. So again, when the designers are we are trying to introduce some of these practices, finding the right solutions, testing that, and coming up with some business values and the price, the ROI of these practices, we are able to present some of the great solutions of how we could improve the operations, how people can work more efficiently. So after that, I prepared some detailed onboarding flow for other designers. It's important to add resources section where people can download all the plugins that we need, or the templates if it's needed. Again, FAQ section is also important, because after presenting all these solutions to the team, it's important to gather and save all the questions that people are asking. So when the new designer will come to the team, he will be able to just go through this guide and understand what are the main challenges the main questions that people asked before, and what are the answers to them. Then if we are speaking about the large design team, when we test it on a small test group, we need to test that on a specific stream, right? Stream of designers that are focusing on the different products, for example. Again, after this, each of the steps, we are gathering some insights and some feedback how we can improve that. And at the end is just a supporting phase where we are answering and educating all other designers how to use this practice as a design linter that will help you to make sure that design deliverables are consistent. So this is one of the examples I hope that helped you to understand why design ops is important, and how we are able to come up with a solution, test it with a small group of team members, understand what is the value of bringing this practice, because again, if there is no value, it's better not to make any additional practices, bring more additional practices that are not providing the value. So another thing that I want to share is the governance as an example. And here I'll be focusing especially on the file management. This is another interesting example of how you can improve it. So when, for example, you are as a design ops, right, consultant or design ops manager in your team, and you see that there are some problems with the governance. Here, I would like to go step by step of how you are able to improve your file management and the governance model itself, to make sure that the communication and all the files are organized in the right way, and it's easy to search and easy to onboard other designers to your projects. So it starts with specifying the goals, understand and present all others why we are doing that. Example for the file management, it will be to provide a better visibility and easier onboarding. Goals as easy to search and easy to onboard. By the right organizing files in our design deliverables, yes, it's for sure it will be easier to search and easier to onboard. And some business values of bringing this new practice, of bringing this new activity, is what kind of problems we are going to solve, what are the opportunities are opening up after, what are the scale of the influence, approximately how much money we could save potentially by adding this activity. And about the ROI, I will be saying that about like in a couple of minutes, how we could calculate that. But here you see there is an example that by, for example, bringing the right file management activities, practice, we are able to improve onboarding. We are able to improve collaboration because all other designers, it will be much easier to go through all of these files and understand what this file is used for. Managing permissions, if we are speaking about abstract or Figma, and to automate some of these things around the design systems, because right governance model and with some automations, we can unlock some of new opportunities that can help us to work more efficiently. So if we are speaking about the file management, next step that I did is, again, experience mapping. That helps us to understand how much time is spent on the specific case. And for the file management, it was more, the first phase was about the onboarding. The second phase is the search. The third one, execute, update, and notify. So you might understand what kind of tools are used during this process, right? Figma and Confluence, for example, can be used as an onboarding material. When search phase, it's not, again, design ops is not only about the designers, but also about the other disciplines. How you can make sure that product manager is able to open your Figma project, for example, and find the right deliverables, find the right wireframes. Again, if there is no right organization, it will be a mess, and it will be hard for even tech leads to understand what are the latest wireframes and etc. Again, based on this experience mapping and understanding what our actors are, and again, it's not only designers, it can be product team, it can be development team, and etc. By doing some value proposition canvas, at this example is very it's not done, but just understanding what are the pains and gains for the specific role, for example, when they are searching for the design deliverables. So for example, for BA, one of the gain examples will be if we are adding our jury ticket into the file name or into the page name inside Figma or Sketch, it will be easier for everyone to go through and understand why, for example, a specific wireframe was done in that way, because they can just copy and paste this jury ticket into the jury and find all the history about this specific feature. After creating the experience mapping, we are, like Design Ops consultant, is preparing, and showing what are the different approaches of how to solve this problem. If we're speaking about the file management, there are 3 different setups, right? One is for the enterprise level companies, for the product company level, and for the consultant company level. Again, if we are speaking about different file management approaches, file management models, there are each challenge have their own approach based on the company constraints, right? So there is no one solution that will work for everyone. So that's why, by presenting all available approaches and recommending some of the models of how we could organize and improve our file management, that will help all the team members to understand why we are doing that. Sharing the best practices. Again, Design Ops consultant knows all the technical constraints of the tools that the team is using and can present best practices of how to organize these files. So if we are speaking about the Figma and we have organization plan, we are saying, for example, the first level, if we are trying to organize our Figma files, is the organization itself, team, project, file, page, and frame, right? And by understanding what are the technical constraints of each of these levels and organizing everything in the right way, we are able to come up with a better solution that will work for this specific team in the right way. Some co-creation sessions with the team also will help by conducting some workshops to specify a stakeholder map, product map, and initiatives map. We are able to understand the right file, the company setup, and suggest them the right file organization of how to organize teams in Figma, for example, how to name all your projects properly so they will be mapped with the jury tickets or with the initiatives name that we have from the business perspective, and etc. usability testings when we, for example, created a new setup for as a file management inside Figma or Abstract or Sketch. It's important to test it with the real customers, right? It's the same design thinking practices can be applied for design operations as well. And when you are preparing some concepts, don't forget to test them before implementing. And in our case, if we are speaking about the file management, some of the missions and questions that you might ask, some scenarios that you might ask to the tech lead is, as an example, you are working on a task, please find a prototype that is connected to this task. Designer, in our situation, designer is on sick leave, and within this scenario, is our file management answers this challenge, and we'll tackle it just by opening our Figma file, find the right prototype or not. This is again, one of the best practices how to improve that is to map with a Jira ticket. Another way of another scenario with the product manager is to speak about the ID bank. And for example, if we had some of the concepts that were out of scope, but we added them to the ID bank, how to make sure that product manager find these concepts or not. If it's, for example, designers, how to make sure that if designer will open your Figma file or Sketch or Abstract, will they able to understand what is the latest version of the specific prototype. Again, if we're speaking about the business value, by just calculating the time that was spent by the specific role, we call and multiplying that by the rates, we are able to understand what are the problems here and how we can improve that by suggesting the right file management or model. And if we're speaking about this specific example, if product manager is not able to find, or tech lead is not able to find the right prototypes, and designer is on sick leave, that's a huge problem. There might be some communication gaps and some delays in the delivery because of that. But by understanding the way of how to organize everything improperly, we are able to improve these problems as well. So yeah, I presented you just 2 examples, and there are a lot more of them. How DesignOps can help you to improve efficiency and the quality of your design deliverables from the design perspective. Here are some other challenges that a lot of different teams are coming and asking how to resolve that. And if you would like to try to implement and try to do these design operation activities by yourself, try to solve some of these challenges. For example, how to automate developer handoff, right? There are some open source solutions on the GitHub. You can just search them and try to come up with the right process of how to automate, for example, style exports and the asset exports. How to migrate all design files into Figma from other applications, right? From the Sketch with Abstract, from Photoshop, for example, etc. So again, what is the right process of how to migrate all these things? How to integrate designers into agile process. This is another huge topic that you can try to understand and came up with the solution of how to improve this and how to resolve this challenge. Yeah, so the next thing that I would like to focus on is how to measure design operations. So we spoke about why design operations is important. We spoke about how to improve design operations. And right now I would like to share you some practices around how to measure the success of the design operations. And the easiest way how to do that is just by creating your organization or chart, right? And understanding what are the main roles there. Like, do you have design managers or not? Do you have user research designers or not? How much time each of these roles are spending on a specific challenge? So if we spoke about the file management or design leaders, how much time they are spending right now, and how much time we could save by integrating new tools, new practices, and etc. By specifying the right process, we are able to calculate the difference, how much hours we could save, and by just multiplying these hours per month by the rates of this specific role, we can come up with the number and understand what is the ROI of these design operation activities that will help you to understand is it valuable or not. So also, time is one of the main metrics, yes, for sure, because we can just multiply it by the rates of the specific position of the specific role and just get the real numbers of how much time we could save here. But in some cases, there are some direct and indirect values, right? If we are saying about the file management, indirect value is the increasing onboarding time for the designer, right? If we are adding new designers to the team, how we can make sure that the onboarding time is shorter. So within these things, we are able to, within these activities, we are able to calculate and show direct and indirect values of adding these new activities. Again, it unlocks new possibilities, right? If we have a great, I mean, if we have a right governance model with the all files are organized in the right way, all the design disciplines are knowing how to work with each other, what are the main phases, what are the best approaches, how to automate this kind of things, we can unlock some new possibilities with the new like automation things, how we could automate these things because we understand how people are working. We gathered all the feedback from them and we found some routine works, some routine paths, some things that could be automated. So again, by doing all these activities, understanding the way of how designers are working inside and outside design teams, we are able to get all these insights and work on them after. Yulia, do we have any questions at this point? Maybe there are some questions on the chat. I have a couple slides more, but I think this is a great place to pause.
Yeah, definitely. We do have a lot of questions already. So let's start with the first one. What size of the design team should be to start thinking about designer ops role?
Yeah, that's a great question. Design ops becoming more and more popular. Why? Because big enterprise companies are seeing that just by adding new designers is not bringing more value, because there are a lot of communication gaps and people are spending a lot of time on this, understanding why they are doing and how they are doing things. So from my perspective, design ops is not a role, it's more like a mindset. Even if you are senior or middle experienced designer, for example, you can start by yourself and you can do some of this analysis of and document all the work that you are doing and came up with the better solutions, right? So my answer right now, demand is on like enterprise companies where there are more than 20, 40 designers in the company. But it doesn't mean that we need to focus on the design ops only when the problems are coming, right? So that's why you can start by yourself and do it like from the beginning. That will help you to have the right design culture, the right governance model from the beginning, and that will be easier, because the change management is another big and very complex topic for the design operations. So answer is from the beginning will be better because it will be easier.
Okay, great, thanks. Then another question, what is the cost of deploying design ops into the design team process? Does it worth spending time on that, and how to prove the value of this role for the shareholders? Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is an interesting question. And again, big enterprise companies are seeing the problem that they have, right? To calculate the ROI, it's based on your company right now. I don't know your current setup, your organization chart. How many designers do you have? What are the rates? And again, by just measuring, like this slide is all about this measuring ROI, is how much specific practice could save us, how much time and how much money could we save by doing this design operations. So by just calculating that, how many hours we could save, we are able to calculate the ROI. But usually design operation consultants are involved in huge enterprise companies like Google, Facebook, InVision. All of them have specific design operations team that are focused around these design operations.
Okay, great, thank you. And one more question from Anton Kazakov. Is there any difference between design manager and the design ops? And also one addition to this question, is design manager is close to design ops process manager?
Yeah, this is a great question. Yeah, they are close, but here we need to understand like what is the main difference, right? Design manager is mostly focused on the product, right? They are focused on the resource allocation, right? To make sure that the specific initiative from the business perspective, all the design team that we have is covering all their needs, right? So we are speaking about the specifying the right meetings with the design and product team to have more visibility inside the Jira or Trello. I don't know what kind of issue tracking systems are you using. They are mostly focused on the product, right? On the resource allocation, on specifying the right Jira tickets and specifying the right meetings. But again, based on the maturity of design manager, again, design manager can do some of this design operations work as well. But why large enterprise companies having this design operations as separate role? Because they would like to have just like a specific team focused only on operations. If we will start to focus on the product as well, we will not have enough time to prepare all these best practices. And the market adapting challenge right now is huge, right? We see that every year there's something new from the design perspective, and the level of maturity of the design discipline is becoming higher and higher. So it's like as a result, design managers and design operations, there is a separation between them, but it's not like really clear. And again, even lead designer can do some of the design operations work. Some design directors can do some of this design operations work, but again, they are not giving their 100% of time to only operations. Design operations consultant is focused only on this thing. So that's why we have them separate.
Okay, cool. And the last question for now is from Andriy Nikiforuk. Do you expect that a design ops should write a code to improve or provide a better way to design and bring design deliverables in your organization using sort of custom built plugins for Azure DevOps Jira?
Yeah, this is a great question. Thank you for this question, because the answer is it's not mandatory. Design operation consultant don't have to like write code, right? But to understand how by building a specific product will help our company to improve the efficiency and the quality of our deliverables, yes, the answer is yes. Design operation consultant should know how by building some of the like plugins, extensions, or products will help us to grow, right? And Facebook, other big companies have their own apps and applications that helping them to improve their efficiency. So yeah, the answer is it's not mandatory, because if we see that we need to build a specific plugin, for example, we could hire a front-end developer for lower price and just do it faster, because our like design ops consultants are focused on like only on operations. But yes, the answer is they can, but it's not mandatory.
Okay, cool. Thank you for your answer. We also have more questions, but let's keep it to the end of your speech. So please proceed.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the questions. They are really great. Okay, let's start with understanding design ops maturity in your company. So there's one article that was published by Nielsen Norman Group recently. Please go and check it out because it's really interesting. They did some survey around how many companies are using and having specific design operations teams in their companies. And because this is something new, right? And everyone is focused only on the product and forgetting to spend some time on the operations as well. Yes, we are able to, they are showing why this is happening. So please check this article. It's really great. But when we are saying about the maturity levels, right, I came up with my own understanding of how to understand the maturity of like design operations in the company. So the first level is the novice, is when we have a clear processes, right? So if I'm joining a new design company, do they have a knowledge base with all the materials and with all the detailed practices, with all detailed processes inside the company? When do product managers knows when design manager or user research designer or visual designers should be involved in each of these specific project phases, right? Every team knows how to work with each other, right? There is clear governance model around that. There are clear responsibilities around what user research designer need to do some specific activities, like and there are clear separation between design user experience designer, for example, or user research. Again, it's all based on your org chart, right? Based on your design discipline maturity. But again, the first phase, the first level, is when we have clear processes and everyone understands how we are working and what needs to be done, right? The second level of maturity, from my perspective, is the scaling practices. It's like intermediate group. It's not only about the way of we know clearly what kind of things do we need to do, but also we are focusing on the people and trying to teach them about the ways of how to improve their efficiency. There are some trainings, mentoring groups, people are going into conferences, they are becoming well-known speakers, and etc. Is there are clear onboarding materials, and what is the onboarding flow itself, right? Do they have some tests to make sure that designer understood the way how we are working? Are they gathering feedback from other newcomers or from people from other teams, right? So the second phase, when we have the scaling practices, is the phase is more mature, right? And it's not only about having processes, but having this self-growing organization with the right knowledge sharing, with the right focus on the people, how they will learn and how to train them with new things. And the last level that from my perspective is the automation. It's advanced level when we are not only know how we are working, we are not only teaching and growing our people, but we're also building our own products to improve the way of how we are working, right? And this is the question that we had a couple minutes ago, is if you have your own plugins, your own extensions, your own products that will help you to improve the way how designers are working, how they can clearly see the growth plan for them, right? Some tools around the knowledge sharing, just like customized based on your needs and etc. So this is the third level, when if the companies have these optimizations, right, their own products, that means that they are really mature regarding the design operations. And these levels cannot be switched around, right? You cannot automate when you don't know how other design teams, other streams are working with each other, right? So, but the advantages of building our own products, for example, inside the organization, is again the market recognition. Right now, Microsoft is focusing more and more on these plugins and extensions, and they are investing in the conferences to improve their market recognition. Right now, as you saw, there are a lot of different plugins from Microsoft and Figma community, and they are trying to improve the way of how people are seeing Microsoft products, right? So again, by having this last step, like optimization, we are able to improve our brand awareness as well on the market. So some optimization examples here is right now in EPAM, we are building Design System Manager. There is a link in our Nova portal. Please join. We are looking for contributors. So yeah, our goal is to connect design components from Figma into the storybook. Again, release management, version control, all these things will be covered there. We are trying to build our own product here. I basically, by myself, I did the spacing manager. This is the plugin that helps you to show and hide all the spacings inside the document. I will not spend too much time here, but here's the link. I have more than 1,000 downloads. So yeah, people are using that, and it really helps everyone to like create these consistent designs. And there is another article by a designer from Lyft, and he said he spoke about the ways of how he created his own scripts in Scripter plugin for Figma, and how he automated the way how he is working inside. How he is working in his company. Again, this optimization, this is the final step where we can really improve the way how designers are working inside. So I'll just quickly go through my personal takeaways from this, my path of understanding design ops and trying to do that within our teams. Is first takeaway is to listen, research, test, and engage others, right? The same design thinking methodologies can be applied to operations. Operations is like another product, right? And as a result, it can be some process, clear process, or as a like final result, it could be some your own plugin or extension. Communication will not solve the problems. I hear sometimes that some design teams are saying the way how to solve this problem is just like to have a clear communication, right? But if we are speaking about the large design team with more than 20 designers, communication is not the answer, right? By just adding more and more meetings, by having more and more calls, we're just spending a lot of time on this communication. So we need some more systematic approach, and DesignOps can help you with that. Do not push changes. It's really important. So it's better to show the solutions, some approaches when designers are having this problem, so they could understand why this problem, like how this practice on this solution will help them. Bicycle is not the right choice to fly to space. So here, the main goal here is that the main takeaway is that around the complexity. So if we are trying to build processes for the large enterprise company with some advanced techniques, it will not be simple. I mean, you need to understand that like you need to focus on the onboarding, and yeah, it will become complex. And big corporations like Facebook, Google, Airbnb, and etc., they have the whole teams around this design operation. So that's why, yes, it will not be easy. If you would like to build something big, like you need to have the like really advanced techniques as well. Make it simple and don't make it complex if it's not needed. It's about the adaptation, and try to automate the routine work if you see any of them. So, and my final thought here is the world is changing. Right now, just making the right things is not enough. Everyone knows about the design thinking. Everyone knows about Lean UX. It's not a competitive advantage on the market when you are just knowing how to do things right? So, but the speed and the quality is the competitive advantage. So that's why the design operations, product operations, DevOps are becoming more and more popular, because everyone understands how to do things properly, but to do it faster and more like efficiently, this is the competitive advantage right now. Do we need, like the final answer, do we need design ops or not, right? So if we are saying about like the company who are trying to do some of the things, implement design management, for example, or create and support design systems with the design ops, it's all these things can be done faster, because the design ops already have some tested approaches to all these design challenges. He can guide your design team much faster, and you can get results faster. And also he can help you with some onboarding materials, because he already have all these things. And yeah, so yeah, we don't have enough time, so just a couple resources to learn. One of the biggest influences right now on the market is Dave Malone. Please follow him on the Medium. We also have DesignOps today on Medium as well. So there are some articles, and please follow me. I have Facebook, Twitter, Medium. If you will have any questions, please ask. I will be happy to help you. And also we have Facebook group around DesignOps. Please join, share all your challenges. Let's discuss there. Let's share all the best practices that we have and help each other to grow this DesignOps discipline worldwide. Thank you. So this is the end of my presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Farid. This presentation was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I guess you just had a very fundamental presentation with a lot of useful information. We do have one last question regarding your examples, but examples of your work, but I believe this question was already answered and we are a little bit running out of time. So I guess that will be it for now. We are really pleased to have you today with us, and you can say goodbye to your listeners.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you for joining, and thank you, Ivan and Yulia, for inviting me to this OffGrid conference. Thank you. Have a great day.